Hello, Reid. Finally, we get to meet face to face, even if it is virtually. So, welcome, man.
Fred, it's good to see you, man. It's been a long time since we should have met a long time ago, I feel like. You know what I mean?
Maybe if I'd have went to the Blackpool Magic Convention, we would have definitely we would have met up. Yeah, I first got introduced to you through your channel. I ordered your shirt, which I've banged on about so much, so I don't want to but it's just something I believe in.
No,
But
let me just say, Fred, I much appreciate it. I think we should jump into maybe the story a little bit about what went on with this whole shirt thing and you reaching out to me and because I got some stuff to say. But yes, Fred is not affiliated with the shirt. He should be. He should be. I should start paying him royalties. But
yeah. It's just something I believe in massively. Like I said, I've mentioned it on here before, but I sent you a very enthusiastic video just saying, "Oh, I bloody love this T-shirt," and then you were like, "Oh, okay,"
yeah,
and then you kind of re-released it with the updates and sent me one with the additions that I'd suggested, which I thought was very kind of you. So that was really cool, man. But what I wanted to say was, congrats on getting a trick of the Blackpool Magic Convention, according to Cavern Booth, and I know that you blew people's minds all over Blackpool, which is great. Congrats, man, because like I said, I've seen a lot of your mentalism content, and it's really great to like peek into the creative process and all that sort of stuff. And so I wondered if I could ask you, would you perform it on me? And I wonder,
Ooh, yeah. I think we could. I think we could do that. I think we could do that. Why don't we chat about it a bit first? And because there's a pretty cool story behind the sort of Blackpool situation, and even I can tell you a little bit about how this came to be and what's the plan with it. Because I've been getting inundated with messages, people asking me, "How do I get this?" And it's not released yet. There's big plans for it this year, but. Let's maybe talk about that a little bit. I think it'd be interesting.
100%, man. The floor is yours. Tell me about it, how it came to be.
So let's go back to the beginning. So I was on the plane from Blackpool home last year. I was coming home, and I was flying from London to Toronto. And we're about halfway there, and the pilot comes on and says there's been an incident at the Toronto airport. So we find out that there was a very small plane crash, like a plane just, something happened with the landing gear and it just went off the runway. No one got hurt, but it was enough that they needed to like close the airport. And so, you'd think that they would just fly us. We were about halfway through a 7-hour trip. You'd think they would fly us into like some of the eastern provinces in Canada, like Halifax maybe, or like the nearby airports to Toronto. But no, they said, we're going to turn around and go back to London. So we did a 7-hour flight, London to London, 7 hours.
What? That's
and
mad.
so on that plane, I mean, it was a blessing in disguise, because on that plane ride, I was like, I need something to kill the time. So I'm like, let me go through my ideas of magic. I have, so many notes on my phone, and let me just see if there's anything cool that I can work on. And I started thinking about this Holy Grail idea. It's like one of those ideas that was like a dream that I assumed was just not possible. And the first place I went was like, what is something that exists? That, like, what's the closest thing that exists that's to this? And so that Holy Grail I was chasing was walk up to someone, have them think of literally anything without any restrictions, and tell them what they're thinking of without them writing it down, without any props, nothing, like fully propless. And I mean, I do a fair amount of propless mentalism. I love it. I've created some cool stuff. Like, I heard you mention the playing card guest that you like.
I love
think
that.
one's, yeah, it's fun, right? But
I use it all the time. I use it all the time, and I've perfected the scripting now, and it's so good. It's so clever. It's so devious.
Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, I'd love to hear you do it on me too. Actually, I've never had someone.
Oh, maybe
do it
we
to
can
me.
do that.
That'd be fun. Yeah, that'd be fun.
They say the best ideas come to you in the shower. So when you're in the shower, you don't have any distractions, right? And there's no Wi-Fi on the plane. So instead of like doom scrolling your way through a flight, you've literally got all this moment of just like, oh, I've got a pad and I've got an idea and I've got nothing to do because I'm stuck on the plane. So that's so cool, man. It is a blessing in disguise.
No, I know, and it's such a wild story because so I'm sitting there on the plane. I'm thinking, what effects exist? Like, what's the closest things I can think of? So something like Lexicon by Fedon Billick. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's a really good word guess, but it is very restrictive. That's how he gets you there. And it's got a very clever idea, but it is quite restrictive and, it's hidden like any good propless mentalism, but you are pretty restricted by what you can think of. So I'm like, okay, that's a good starting point. And then I thought of Christian Grace's Enigma, which was pretty popular about this time last year.
Mm-hmm.
And without giving too much away, I do have Enigma. I don't really perform with it. I've played with it. It was more one of those things that I figured I probably wouldn't use much. It's got, for the right person who wants to put in the time, I'm sure it can be great. For me, there's some things that just don't work for me. But the concept was really nice. And without, again, giving out too much away about how it works, it just planted a seed in my head about the concept of language. Mm-hmm. And so I realized that if there was, imagine like you're in France, right?
Yeah.
Do you speak French? You must? Yeah.
Yeah. Oui.
Okay, so French is
good.
Yeah, we could do this in French if you want. But French probably isn't, I usually use French because that's the other language I speak. But let's say a language you don't speak. Let's say I speak Arabic and you don't, right? If you had no idea that Arabic was a language, like you didn't know, had no concept of it existing, and I had you think of a word and convert, and somehow I could give you, I don't know, like a little piece of paper or something that could have you convert that word into Arabic, and then you just said the Arabic word to me. To you, you would just be saying absolutely nothing, and it would make no sense. But if I knew how to translate the language, then I could figure out what you're thinking. So that's Enigma is in a way, if you really break it down, that's exactly what it's doing.
Okay.
And so. And so
I'm intrigued. I don't know how it works, but that does sound very intriguing.
It's not like a typical language, but in a way it is a language. And so I started wondering if there's a way that you could do this properly. And the big problem is that anything like that would require immense amount of memory. So there's another thing that came to mind, which is called train tracking by Atlas Brooking. And it's a little bit of an underground thing, but if you're really into propless mentalism, you've probably heard of it. And it was like very difficult. Very cool, but very difficult. And so that was kind of like, those were like my jumping off points. It's like, I wonder if there's a way to combine all three of these things. And I was sitting there for like my 7-hour flight home. And then, the next day I flew back to Toronto. So another 7 hours. And over the course of that time, there was one simple idea, one simple phrase that popped into my head that kind of cracked the code. And from there, it was like just jumping off into, the things that matter, like scripting and how to make this more deceptive. And I really spent the past year with this idea, not always at the forefront, because I'm very busy. There's a lot of other stuff I'm working on, but it would come and go. And every time it would come, it would just get better and better and better. And it got to a point where, so here's what I tell people. And by the way, I wanted to ask you, Fred, are you ever going to come to Blackpool? Do you think that's something you
Maybe. It's quite overwhelming, to be honest, and it just looks really busy. I don't know if you saw that Everything Magic Pro, the guy Scott, he was saying it's just not his, he wasn't talking shit about it, to be honest. He was just saying, to be honest, it's massive, it's very, very overwhelming, and that's the impression that I got before I even went. I was like, for my first convention, I'm going to Alakazam, and I want to go to the Magic Podcast Convention with Lloyd and Craig. I think like little cozy, more sort of smaller conventions would suit me better. But yeah, maybe 100%. I'll probably one day for sure.
Yeah, man, you got to do it. It's just a different. It is definitely. You know what? It's overwhelming 100% on your first day, but you just find someone I'll take you around, man. I don't mind. Like we'll meet up. Like that's the key. The first time I went, I didn't. It's funny because like people knew me, but I didn't know anyone. Like
of course,
when I walked in the first day, and so I'm like super overwhelming. It was the night before. In the Ruskin, like the convention didn't even start, and I walked in, there's just like so many people, and I'm like, I don't know anyone. But once you get a sense for the vibe and you understand it and you meet people, it's a great time, and there's nothing like it, really.
Nice.
And so one thing I tell people when you're going to Blackpool is just have one thing ready to share with people. Like even if you're afraid to perform, even if you're an underperforming hobbyist, have one thing. It doesn't have to be a magician fooler. It could be literally just your go-to. It could be a 2-card Monty. It could be, whatever you're comfortable with. Like, it doesn't matter.
Does it have to be original?
No. Just people want to share magic. People want to see what different people are doing. You're going to be in a situation where, you're jamming with people, and you don't have to, but I highly encourage that when people are sharing magic, you say, hey, can I show you something? And you just do it. And,
Yeah.
It's what it's all about. So I always tell people, I've had so many people say, "Oh, I don't really want to perform. I don't think I could do anything." I'm like, "No, you could. Just plan it. Like, don't be in the situation where someone says, "Do you want to show me something?" and you're like, "Oh, I didn't bring anything." Just have one thing, you know?
Yeah, I like that. I like that because I was chatting with Lloyd this week, and he there's a little bit of a tangent, but he showed me something. He showed me like the coin, the electric coin thing, and then
Tobias,
afterwards,
yeah, I saw that, yeah.
yeah, look, sorry about that. He showed me the coin, and then immediately he was just like, "Oh, this is obviously how it works," and he exposed the gimmick straight away. And I was like, "Oh, bro, I didn't even get a chance to like marinate in the mystery." And he was like, and remember he actually mentioned it on the other podcast. Always like, "Oh, I just assume that I'm speaking to the smartest person in the room." So that's me, because I could do Rejoined Express and I'd be like, "Oh, I'm at Blackpool. Everyone knows Rejoined Express." But there could be like fairly decent magicians who'd be like, "What the hell? That's mad. How have you done that?" Or like, not, or maybe not how have you done that, but like, "I've never seen that before," you know? So you can't assume that just because you're in a room full of magicians that everyone knows everything, right?
Yeah, and well, absolutely. Like that's kind of a little bit of like magician brain in a way, like where you
Yeah.
feel like, and that's like another side of it. Normally, we talk about that with laymen, and we think things aren't good enough, and blah, blah, simple methods aren't, but it's the same with you have the same problem with magicians. You're like, oh, this is so simple, they'll know how it works, but that's totally not the point. Like, I performed a whole bunch of different stuff. There was a few things that I was like, oh, this will be fun. Maybe I'll fool a few people, and that was kind of my intent. It's not stuff that I normally do, but that was a personal choice. Like, I'd say if you have something that's kind of fooling, great. Like, I have a buddy, David. He's a great guy, and he's just like a hobbyist magician, but he does a lot of performing, just at the local bar and stuff. And I've been doing lessons with David for years, and so he's there, and he does this trick at Blackpool. It's his magician fooler, and he never performs it a day outside of Blackpool. But every year he does just that one trick, and he fools some of the best minds with it. It's so simple,
No
but
way.
so if you can get something that's fooling, that's nice. But again, that's not the point. And like,
I was thinking that, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but even if you do like a trick that you've seen done before, it could be like a certain bit of scripting, a little bit like, oh, wow, that was clever. Like, and I think it's all about sharing ideas and stuff like that. I think
totally,
I'm looking forward to that. And I've never jammed with anyone as well. I feel like such a fraud sometimes. I'm like, I've never jammed with another magician. So I'm
no,
really,
but it really, it's like, when do you get the opportunity? Like, you don't really get the opportunity. Like, how many, I don't know. I just finally met like a magician in real life who I'm actually like, and I'm friends with Cameron. Like, he's, but it's been years since I've found, like, I've met magicians through clubs. Like, I know a fair amount of, I when I used to live in a different city in Canada, Ottawa. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's our capital of Canada. So, I used to live there, and there was a magic club, and I used to go there, and there were a lot of great guys there. But there's not really many opportunities. It's conventions. If you can join a club, great. A lot of clubs aren't the best, though, unfortunately. There's either low attendance or, a different age demographic or whatever it is. But just to circle back, like, Blackpool, that's what it's all about. It's sharing something. Even if it's, you do a trick, you do all the stock lines, but you're just doing it yourself. You're sharing something. Maybe, like, the chance that they haven't seen it is high. Like, I mean, I've never had someone show me Rejoined Express. And frankly, I only know what it is because of your videos and seeing you do it. Like, you just can't know everything that exists, even if to you, everyone knows Rejoined Express. It's, João Miranda, everyone's got to know it. No, I didn't know it until I saw it on your video, and you know what I mean? So it's like, if you showed me that, maybe I would know the method. I don't know, but that's not the point. I'd be like, oh, that's cool. I've never seen that before, right? So you have to kind of go into it with a different perspective, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I went, like, when I go to Blackpool, though, like, I know that I'm going to have, there's two sides of it that's probably different than most people. Like, I know I'm going to have people coming up to me asking to see me, like, either they're fans of the channel or they're like, hey, I know you do a lot of propless stuff. Can you show me something? Or like, I love your video on this. Can you show me it? So I have a few things ready because I don't like to, someone who likes to be very prepared, right?
Yeah.
And then there's the other side of it where, like, Blackpool's the one opportunity where I get to see a lot of, friends, or like, even like last year, like, I had this thing I was working on and I just saw Mark Paul sitting at the bar, and I just walked up to him. I never met Mark before, but he's like a very well-known mentalist. I was like, hey, Mark, I'm working on something. Can I show it to you? And so, like, I'm networking in a way too for me, right? And so I have these things that I want to share, and often it's new things. And so, to kind of get a little bit back to that story, because there's the chapter of this year at Blackpool, which is really interesting, and how we kind of get to this Kevin Booth video is like, I had a couple of things, I shared a few things, and I get to, I think, the second night. So it started on Thursday this year. So I think Friday night, I was like, I have this word guess thing. I knew I wanted to share it with a few people at Blackpool. But to be honest, I was like, I didn't think it was that great. I thought it was cool. It was good. I thought it was a good idea. I thought the idea was really good, but I didn't think it wasn't there yet. Like, even though after a year, I was like, there's still part I don't like about it. And so I was like, well, let me share it with some people. And so do you know Matt Cluley?
I don't know.
He was, you know, Matt from who used to be on Magic TV with Craig.
Oh, yes. Oh, I saw it with he had a hat on in your video, right?
Yeah. So that's Matt. So Matt's a good friend. We met last year at Blackpool.
From the Matt test.
Yeah. And,
so am I right in thinking that when Craig started doing those videos, which I loved, by the way, and Matt was like, oh my God, I'm so fooled, and he's kind of trained him up to be a magician now?
Yeah, like Matt didn't do any magic before that. He was more of like an actor and stuff. And so now he's off doing his own thing, trying to build up himself as his own kind of mentalist character, Matt Cluley mentalist. So he's very talented mentalist. And
that's cool, so man. He's gone from like layman to professional magician
in a couple of years. Yeah, and he's doing really big things. And so
I guess under the wing of Craig Petty, though, that's quite a tutor.
yeah. I mean, it started that way, so it was a good jumping off point for sure. And so what was it? He was the first person I showed, and I showed him not even so there's many variations of this thing that I'm gonna eventually be teaching on the project, but I didn't even show him. Do
you have a name for it? Because
working on it, I think. Should I say this yet? Yeah, okay, I'll give you an exclusive, Fred. I'll give you an exclusive.
Okay, go on then. Let's do it.
This is not 100% confirmed, but I've been asked so many times since these videos, and even at Blackpool, what's this called? I'm like, okay, the first thing I need is a name. I am thinking it's going to be called the Trident system, or just Trident.
Oh, I like it. The three-pronged approach.
Exactly, yeah. A little hint there. So, Trident, I think, is the name. Either the Trident system or Trident. So
just Trident.
I think so. I like that more.
Yeah.
I like that more, but both are in mind. There's a couple other names, but
in the movie, is it called The Social Dilemma or something, where he's like, just drop just Facebook. It's like
yeah.
Trident.
I agree. I think the one where it's cleaner, it looks better on anything. Just one word. So that's definitely the way I'm leaning. So that's the plan. But so I showed Matt. And I showed him a different version that actually involves a billet. And there's some really cool things you can do with a billet. And he was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like, at first I was like, that's pretty cool. And then I started, it's one of those things where, like, he didn't even realize, and I didn't either, to be frank, but he didn't realize, like, the power of it until I started to explain it. Yeah, like, explain him how it works. And he's like, hold on a second. And then he went around, he's like, he got another good buddy of ours, Reid Ferry. I don't know if you've heard that name. He's, like a magic consultant, creator, very talented guy.
Okay.
And he came over, he's like, oh, I did it on him. And I got it. And he's like, oh, this is pretty cool. And we started jamming all the ideas that I had with it. And they're like, actually, I think this is really nice. And my big dilemma at the time was with the propless version. And I didn't quite love it. And then I showed it to them and they were like, oh, this is really nice. And then there was just one moment, but they're like, you know what? Will you perform it to people? I'm like, sure. So Matt went and literally grabbed someone in the Ruskins, like, come here. And I nailed it. Come here. Nailed it. I did like 10 in a row, and I got it every single time.
Nice.
Which I knew that I could get it every single time. I'd been practicing a bunch, which it's not hard. It's literally, you don't need to memorize anything. It's so easy once you know how it works. But I'm
so excited.
With ChatGPT, like I was just like rehearse. And I knew that the system works. It was solid. And that was a really good jumping off point. And then Matt's like, Pete's here, and Pete's a good friend of mine, Pete Turner, but I hadn't seen him yet, and so I was like, get Pete. This is the guy I've been needing to talk to.
Yeah.
How's it going, man? And I was like, look, I'm working on this thing, so I do it on Pete, nail it, and he's like, that's really good. And I'm like,
was Pete fooled, or did he know?
The problem, the unfortunate part is that he saw the version. This is actually the most important part of the story. He literally changed one little element, which unlocked the thing that I didn't like about it. He solved it. So I'll tell you that story because it's really interesting. So no, I wouldn't say it fooled him, but it wasn't as good as it could have been. The propless version. The rest stay the same. But basically, there's a moment where there's this. They create a list of 3 random words. Like literally, it's just 3 random words. Game of word association, and they would tell me that list 1, 2, 3. But I wanted it to be any order. I wanted to add more randomness to it, and it wasn't like Pete added anything. I was like, Pete, this is what I want. I just can't get it there. He's like, all he said was, you already have it. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, Just ask them to say it in any order. And because of this, this, and this, you already have what you need. And I'm like, I think you're right. So it was literally just taking away a step, and then I did it probably 40 more times at Blackpool because I literally, from that night, I shared it with a few other close friends, and it just kind of spread like wildfire. And then the next day I see Lloyd. He's like, hey, I saw this thing. I heard about this thing. Can you show it to me? I did it on Lloyd. Then Cavan was there. I did it on Cavan. He had an amazing reaction. And I love the reveal I did with the like, close your hand.
Yeah,
and, like, yeah, super cool.
I mentioned that on the pod with Lloyd as well. Like, it was so clever how you were like, do this and
yeah.
So I don't want to tangent off away. I don't want to interrupt you, but like that, I spoke about it, Lloyd, and that's the thing I've been learning on your wizard tier on the reveals. There's so much grey area between getting your peak, getting the information, and revealing it. And like that's what I've been learning like from you. Like so many cool things. Like that's what sells mentalism, right? That you have to believe that you're reading their mind, otherwise they're not going to believe it, right? And,
well, let's circle back to that because that's one thing I wanted to chat with you about. I have a few ideas for you, and a few ideas about one of your performances too that I wanted to share. That I think would be cool.
Exciting. Go on, carry on your story.
That's pretty much where we are today. Like that happened. I had a bunch of random people started DMing me at Blackpool. I heard about your thing. Where are you? I'm like, what do you mean by that? And then I'm like, so that I met up. I just showed it to a bunch of people. People were like, this is awesome. And then the videos came out. I put out some videos, and it just got so like a much better reaction and sort of. Than I ever expected. Like, you know what I mean? It was just really a shock, and I'm very grateful for that. I was able to show a bunch of like really respected mentalists, people like, I don't know, Fraser Parker, Mark Lemon, Mark Elston, like all these like really, like I just like went looking for them. I'm like, hey, I have a thing to show you. And then I just started showing people, right? And people just loved it. Everyone who I showed it to was like, this is great. I had a few people who were like, I want to buy the rights to that. I want it. I'm like, sorry, not right now. Like I need to figure out. It's like when you don't fully realize you've stumbled on gold, and then you have it in your hands all of a sudden. You're like, everyone wants it, and you're like, I'm just gonna keep it for a moment and just decide what I'm gonna actually do with it. So right now I am deliberating. It is coming out. It is coming out.
I have a quick question. You said that if we did a performance, there'd be like a little bit that you needed to cut out that would you protect the method. If you went around and showed like 40 magicians at Blackpool, then surely sort of doesn't everyone know the method already?
Yeah. So, well, the thing is, no, like it's still a very deceptive method, right? Like, here's the thing when it comes to propless material. So this effect is much more than the propless piece. There's a version for stage. There's a version with billets that adds a really unique dynamic that doesn't, I don't think, take anything away. There's even a full game of Scrabble that we can play fully proplessly where the words are only in your head and I can tell you what words you're imagining. There's like some really cool ideas. Yeah. And so the tricky thing, and I don't want to name any names or like talk bad, but there is one thing in particular that is kind of making the rounds right now where I'm super big on live performances. That's the reason I do street magic, because I don't want to be, I never want to fall victim to those who can't do teach saying, right? Like,
yeah, of course. Yeah.
And so I also want to show that like, when I tell you like how to do a reveal or how to use a technique, I want to show you that I actually use it. And I'm not just making these things up. I didn't go on ChatGPT and say, how can I help make a video about mentalists to do, like, these are real ideas that really work. And I want to, and so when it comes to my projects, I am, same as Craig Petty talks about a lot, very big on having a live performance because I think it's the most honest version of being able to share without giving away the secret. Now, for most things, like the Show Me a Trick tee, for example, with physical products, it's very easy because the Show Me a Trick tee, I can show you the routine. And even if you figure out how it's done, you can't do it without the t-shirt. So I could send you the tutorial. Like if you asked, hey, I'm thinking about buying it, can I see the tutorial first? Sure, I don't really care. Like, because that's the thing with physical products, which is why a lot of companies these days are looking for physical and there's less downloads. Downloads are, some of them are great, like if you have to make something, but if it's like, say it's a card trick and you're just teaching the card trick, well, like someone, say like myself, I'm a very experienced card magician, most likely, if you're showing a genuine full performance, I could watch it and probably reverse engineer it. Now, ethically, I think you should buy it still and support the creator, and the creator's going to have so much more, hopefully, if they did a good job in the tutorial than just what you pick up on. But unfortunately, not everyone shares those ethics. And so, you know, there is a little bit of a dilemma. Now, Propolis is in a world of its own where the script is the method. You know, like there are other things beyond the script, like some actual sort of cues that I am looking for, but it's not like the method doesn't really rely on that. They're just extra things to help you hone in on, which is very important when the freedom of choice is so high, like you'll see, right? So
I see, yeah.
So what I
see what you mean, because with the Propolis, you call it mind games?
Yeah.
Yeah. So with that one, I've done that so many times, and obviously I've said the script so many times. Even my girlfriend, she's just like, I still have no idea how you do it, because there's certain subtle cues that you pick up on, and there's questions that you ask. Even though the scripting's the same and she's heard it, she still has no idea. And
So
I
there's a
literally
couple-
sat her down and I said, right, I'm going to do it to you over and over and over and over again, and see if you can catch on to it. And finally, she was like, she still didn't know. She's like, you're always kind of ending up on, you know. But yeah, you know, sorry to interrupt, but yeah,
that's great. I talk too much, so please interrupt. That's why my videos are so long. Yeah. So, you know, here's what's super interesting. So you're totally bang on, but here's what you have to keep in mind. Live performance Propolis. When you're out in the real world, Propolis mentalism really does work. You know, obviously it's not always perfect hits with everything. Some things are better constructed, but if you assume that the routine's constructed properly, then it's generally very fooling, like you see with mind games, because the person can't replay the video over and over and over and over and over, right?
Of course. Yeah.
So even if you do it differently on someone, there'll be either a different experience, sometimes with certain Propolis stuff, like, you know, the little month ploy that you use in mind games. If they just say right off the bat, yes, there's a month in it, that flies over their head. No one would think that's part of the method, because it just was, yes, I got it, and you're on to the next thing. Whereas if you like isolate that in a vacuum and you start to like reverse engineer and watch multiple performances over and over, and you see next time, oh, the person said no, they can't think of a month. That's when you can start to piece it all together, right? So the reason that when I am going to perform it to you, and I would love for everyone to see, you know, me reveal it to you and your reaction, I just don't want any more than really one. There's already two, but I really just want one. But these two live performances that are out there, that's all that I'm planning to put out there. Those are going to be the ones used in the trailer, just because it's the most honest I feel I can be. And so I was talking a little bit about something else that's out there right now. Again, I'm not going to name it, but they are releasing no live performances. They are charging an absurd amount of money for a Propolis thing. I've seen it. I won't say my opinion because I don't like to spread negativity. But it's just, like, how can you... I just can't sell something to someone if they... Like, I need to share it. So I want to share it. And there's ways to get around it. Like, you can cut up I could cut things. But even then... And you know what? It's a very sticky situation, and that's part of what I'm trying to decide how to almost market it in a way. But I think I'm happy with what's out there now, and I think that's what is going to use. And so that's just, I want to keep it. It's also a super powerful thing, so I do want to keep it under wraps. And it is super fooling. Most of the people I showed it to had no idea. Or you know, even as mentalists, but it's, you know, it's a really cool thing. So,
I'm excited. Should we do it? Just let me know afterwards what bit you want me to cut out, and we'll edit it out. Yeah, but like, I'm excited because so, all right, cool. Let's go. I can think of anything.
All right.
Okay, wait.
So before we get into it, can we focus your webcam, because I need to see that wonderful face of yours, Fred?
Thank you. Yeah.
Just a little out of focus. Okay, great. So before we get into this, I want everyone to know: at no point is Fred going to say anything out loud about what he's thinking. At no point is he going to write anything down. Okay? And we will keep in the question, so they will know how free this is. There's no restriction that we're going to cut out of it. Okay? And it'll be quick. Like, we can tell them how long it takes and all that. Okay, so Fred, I want you to think of a single word object, but I want it to be something you can specifically categorize. So what do I mean by that? A banana is a fruit. Hammer is a tool, an elephant is an animal, something, any object, single word, and its category. Let me know when you have something.
I have it.
You got it?
Yeah.
Great. So this object we're going to call your master word. So anytime I say master word, that's the word I'm referring to, okay? Now, you have your category as well?
Yeah.
Okay, so keep those two things in mind. So, at no point are you ever going to say that master word out loud. Now, in order for me to get inside your mind, I obviously don't know much about how you think. We just recently met for the first time, and so we're going to play a little game of word association. Okay, this tells me how you think, how you process information. Now, we're going to create a list of 3 random words. Do you feel like you can remember 3 random words, or would you like to write them down? Your choice.
I can remember them for sure, but I might write them down just as well, just for funsies.
Yeah, up to you. Now, Fred, be honest. If you went in the other room and you showed, someone that list, they'd have no idea. It's completely random, right? Just generated from your mind. Those words have nothing to do with anything, but they do tell me a lot about how you think and process information. So, Fred, if you tell me those words in any order, I'm going to try to see if I can get in your head. Not your master word, but the 3 on your list. Any order.
Any order?
Any order. Now, you could be thinking of literally anything, Fred. I want you to imagine this object, and I'm going to go like this, and I don't want you to say anything. Just think stop when I get to about the size of this object. That kind of makes sense, right? It's like something like this. And it's funny, Fred, because I feel like you went for something that's like right next to you. Not only is it next to you, it's next to me, right? Like it's here with us right now. Fred, watch. Does that make sense? Phone?
It makes sense. Yeah, well done. That was good.
What do you think?
No, I loved it. Yeah, it was great, man.
It's
very,
cool,
very
right?
cool. Yeah, so I can't work out. I mean, there's no point in me trying to work it out. I'm just going to marinate in the mystery, I'm not going to try and...
Yeah, man, it's super cool. It's super cool.
So, what if one of the other words, you confuse it, with like,
Yeah. So that's part of the system, right? It's knowing the language, if you will, if we go back to what I was saying earlier.
Because if I give you the words in order, I can kind of think, but if I give you the words in any order, then surely there's...
So that's what Pete helped me crack the code on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really cool, man. And you can do some really cool things. You can read an entire room of people's minds at one time, right? Everyone's think about it. Everyone thinks of an object. You have them settle, you pick one person, you say, okay, we'll go with your object. They tell everyone knows you're in the other room. You come back in, and you can now, you go through the process. You say, someone think of a random word. Someone think of a random word. Someone think of a random word. I turn around, say your random word, say your random word, say your random word, and I can tell the whole room what they're thinking of. You know what I mean?
No way.
Right? Like.
Oh wow, yeah, that's crazy. That would play really well. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. You do that.
Wow.
You can have them write it on a billet. So like what we did is a propless version. Oftentimes, if people don't feel they can remember the 3 words, I'll have them write it down. But I never look at it, which is really deceptive in a way. But with the billet, you can just you can see where this is going. Where they never write down their word. They never say it out loud, and they never have to tell you the list. If you do something sneaky with the billet, they never have to tell you the list. So in their head, they never told you the word. They never told you the list. They never said anything. And it's like a whole.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, and I think it's got a lot of potential.
Yeah.
and so I'm working on getting the project done, and there's going to be a lot of really cool stuff on it, and yeah, I'm excited.
That's cool, man. Yeah, that's super cool. That's really clean. Can you repeat it? Like, is it? I mean, obviously they say once a trick, twice a lesson, but is it repeatable for the same participant?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I did it for the same people multiple times, because it's a similar process. So it's like if you don't get it the first time, it's not one of those things where you're like relying on different outs and different this and that. Like it's one way or it doesn't work. Like either it works or it doesn't, and it always works. That's the crazy thing. Like it literally, like it's almost like I don't even get it how it always works, but it does. It really does.
And you say that there's no memory work.
0. And so I did it to Mark Elston. Do you know Mark Elston?
I've heard of him. Lloyd talks about
Lloyd's
him a lot.
Huge fan. Yeah. So Mark is he created a lot of great stuff. Probably, I'd say his most popular release is called Tequila Hustler. It's like a propless witch hand thing. Very good. And he was one of the people I was looking for at Blackpool. So I messaged him. We hadn't met before. I was like, Mark, I need to show you something. I showed it to him, and he's like, that's super cool. And he was thinking of Cloud, right? So he was
nice.
something completely different. And I just nailed it, right? And then I go over to him, and I'm like, or no, he says right after the performance, he's like, so that must be a lot of memory. I'm like, 0. I don't have anything memorized at all, which is crazy. It's just learning
learning the language, I guess.
Right, in a way. Yeah.
So I'm baffled because I can't imagine how you would do that without a lot of memory work. So if you say it doesn't involve any memory, then I mean, I don't even want to try. I don't even want to try and work it out, man. I'm just going to marinate in it. I think you just read my mind. It was very, very, very cool.
I can show you how easy it is, unless you want to just marinate it. I'll show you how easy it is. We have to cut it, but I'll show it to you if you want.
Let's do it at the end. For now, like I say, okay. Lloyd exposed that trick to me the other day, like straight away.
Yeah.
And I just want to marinate in it for now because, like I say, for me that's magic, man. So even though I am like a magician, I don't know why I have to put the air quotes there, but like, yeah, you don't feel like you have to expose it to me. For now, I'm just maybe you could. Obviously, I want to know. Tell me at the end because for now I'm still baffled. I'm like, that's I could have thought of anything. So yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So, look, I wanted to talk to you about reveals because I heard you. I did catch that part of the pod with Lloyd yesterday. You were talking a little bit about how to reveal things, and so I had this idea. Well, this is something that I teach a lot. I think it's probably in one of my master classes somewhere. I've done so many videos now, I can't remember. Yeah. But tell me, does this sound familiar? The circular reveal.
No, I haven't got to that one yet. I watched the propless one, which again I don't want to tangent away, but one of the things I loved about the propless one is the way you say that you're going to give someone a free choice, but then you restrict their free choice down to certain things, like without them knowing. And I was like, oh my god, it's so obvious when you think about it. But that's one of those things where you peek behind the curtain and you're like, oh, of course, the whole like the mind games. It's such a cool effect. I love it, and the way like you've taught it on your channel, but you've never like when I watched the propless mentalism masterclass, you sort of break down how a free choice can be a very narrow choice with just a few linguistic sort of gymnastics.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
moving into the box.
Wow, that's so cool, man. Yeah. And it was really enlightening because, like I said, I haven't watched all of them yet, but I'm really, really enjoying them. And I'm just sort of learning a lot. Like, obviously, you're very, very high level mentalist. And I'm just sort of delving in. It's so funny because I love it when I like read people's minds and they're like, "No way! How did you do that?" And I'm like, "Wow, it's just a simple script, you know." Like,
yeah. Well, that's what's
really
so
cool.
fun about Propless. Can you do mind games on me? I really want to. I never have it done on me, and no one ever does. Like, it's you never see your own material performed on you, and I love it. So
absolutely, I'd love to. Okay. So Reid, before we start, I just wanted to make sure that you're familiar with cards. Like, if I spread a deck out of cards, you'd be able to identify them. You know, all the suits and everything. You know, the numbers.
Yeah,
because a lot of the young folks they've never seen cards before, so I just wanted to make sure that. So if I was to spread, and you can use your imagination, right? You can imagine cards.
Yep.
Perfect. So if I spread an imaginary deck of cards in front of you like that, I just want you to think of one of the numbers. Okay, don't think of the value. Sorry, don't think of the suit just yet, but you should have a value in mind. Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. Now don't think of. I mean, in a moment, I'm going to ask you to think of the suit. But for now, just leave your mind blank. But when I ask you in a moment, I want you to think of all the details, all the shapes, all the curves, all the colors. So, for example, if you were to think of spades, you would think of it big and clear, and you could print that on the front of your mind, just spades. Okay, so obviously, you can pick whatever suit you want. But right now, I just want you to settle on the first suit that comes to mind, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You've got it? Excellent. So now you put the value and the suit together, and you'll have a card.
Got it.
You're thinking of a card. And there's no way that I could know what that card was, right?
Never.
But let's make it even more random, okay? So I know that a lot of people, when I ask them to think of a card, a lot of people think of like common cards, like the kings, for example. Everyone thinks of the kings, right? So what I want you to do, if you were thinking of a picture card, I want you to change to a number card. And if you're thinking of a number card, change to a picture card, okay? Have you got one?
Yeah.
Excellent. Perfect. I just picture that card in your mind for me. And I just want you to spell it out for me. So if you could just spell out, say for example, if you were thinking like the King of Hearts, you would be like K-I-N-G. And you just focus in on that first letter for me. Okay, you got it? Can you think of a month of the year that starts with that letter? You know what? Forget it. You know, we'll do something else. Let me. Right. I just want you to think of the suit. Okay. So immediately, I'm picking up that you're thinking of a red card, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Excellent. Okay. So what I want you to do is I just want you to repeat the suit in your head. Okay, over and over and over again. Okay. So hearts, hearts, hearts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. You're thinking of. Okay. Right. Let's try this. I could be wrong. You could be thinking of any card in the deck, right?
Anyone? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right. I could be wrong. I could be wrong, Reid. But for the first time, what card are you thinking of?
Queen of Hearts.
Queen of Hearts.
Amazing. That was awesome, man. Thank you.
There we
that
go.
was awesome. I
Any
really
feedback?
like your. You know what? I think you did it great. I really like how you changed up the first few lines there with the making sure they know the deck and then saying, just think of a number from the deck. Like, I could see how that would improve even slightly the hit rate. It was very nice. Very nice.
Wait.
Yeah, well, it's a nice little change because I think there's a balance with that first line of not making it too obvious, but it you know what? I think what your performance made me realize, which I never thought of before, I was always like, how can I make the line, that first line about the numbers, very subtle so that it works, but they don't pick up on it. But the trade-off is that they might not even pick up on it to begin with, and then they'll screw up the whole thing, right? But with the way you do it, it's a little more in your face, obvious. But I think with how much time passes with the rest of the script, no one's going to remember that, which never really occurred to me. I don't think anyone... You get what I'm saying? Like, no one's going to remember that you said that instruction so specifically at the beginning. And I think you probably had that experience performing it, right?
I've never had anyone pick up on that. So I think what you're saying is, like, when I say, I just want you to think of one of the numbers. Don't think of the value. Sorry, don't think of... I just said it again. Think of one of the numbers. Don't think of the suit just yet, but you should have a value in mind, right? So I'm sort of saying for them to pick a number, but at the same time, I don't know. I think on your tutorial, it was a little bit. I thought your tutorial was a little bit more obvious because you were saying, like, just think of one of the numbers, and so I think even mine was like a little bit more subtle.
The script interesting. So the script that I deliver is, in a moment, I'm going to have you think of a playing card, but we're going to start with just the value. So go ahead, just think of a number from a deck of cards, and then we'll go from there. So I'm not saying think of a number card. I'm saying think of a number from a deck of cards. So it to me that feels different, but maybe it's not. Like, again, it's all how you process it. But
I guess
I actually, the concept, what was kind of eye-opening was that, and having never had anyone do it on me, like, there's so much other things that happen when you get to the switch between pictures and numbers that I don't think anyone's gonna, like, you could say literally choose one of the number cards, not a picture card. I bet you'd still get away with it, right? Like, almost, Cool, very cool. Thank you, man. That was awesome.
I think the fact that you know how it's done, that you may have thought that it was... I thought that was actually really subtle. I've never had anyone say, but you forced me to pick one of the number cards.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think it is subtle. Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm just... The way that it was delivered, it felt more like think of a number card than think of a number from the cards, which is probably the same thing now that I think about it. It's just like... It was really nice. I really liked it. Super good,
Thanks, man.
And the
Thank you
script
so
is
much.
awesome. And
Thank
so
you very
what
much.
I wanted to share with you is something I call a circular reveal. And so the idea of the circular reveal is, that moment, and I think this is something you were talking about, that moment when you have your peak, you know what they're thinking of, right? I think that's the moment you're talking about. How do you make that moment more important? How do you emphasize it? How do you make it feel like you're reading their mind rather than just reading the piece of paper, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So one process, because actually I think that's one of the hardest parts of mentalism, because there's two problems that you run into. You peek the billet and you're like, I have it, I feel guilty, I gotta tell them, I gotta get it off my chest, right? But the other side of that is you don't know what else to do. You're just like, well, this is it. Trick's over. I guess I should just reveal it now, right? Like,
exactly.
And so what I try to get into people's minds is that in the same way with a one ahead, that once you have one piece of information, technically you can have as many more hits as you would like, right? You can just keep one ahead, one ahead, one ahead, one ahead, and you could guess 10 pieces more of information. So once you have one piece of information, think of that as unlimited, not technically unlimited, but in general, it's unlimited more amounts of free hits, right? So you could go into a one ahead, but you don't have to go into a one ahead. Within that piece of information, there is unlimited amount of hits that I could come up with before I reveal it. That is just revealing characteristics about that thing. So if I know you're thinking of an elephant, I can get a hit on the color, the size, the fact it's living, 4 legs, long trunk, ear. Like, I can just go forever. And so take advantage of that. Instead of getting 1 hit, get 10. Maybe 10's too many, but you get the point, right?
Yeah.
And so one thing that I like to do, which forces you, if you struggle to fill that space and time with something to say, is called the circular reveal. So imagine that you know the word and your reveal is down here. Okay, so their word elephant is here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so imagine it like a circle, and I need to get to the other side for the reveal. So I'm here, I know the information, I need to get to here, and that's the reveal. Well, I could just go this way and just end the routine, or I could go this way, take the long way. So the circular reveal. So what is that? Well, it starts with like a baseball diamond almost. You go way out, they say left field, technically this is to the right, but you go way out into left field where it makes no sense what you're saying. Literally, what you're saying has no relation to what they're talking about. But in the back of your head, you know how you're going to connect it. And
Give me an example with elephant.
For sure, I will. I'm going to. Let me just finish the process and I'll give you an example. Cool. And I'll explain how I do it. So it makes no sense, but as you start to round second base, hold on, maybe this has something to do with it. Okay, now it's close. Now we're third base. Oh yeah, he's definitely got what I'm thinking of. And you come in for the home run. Okay?
Nice.
So how do you do it? And then I'll give you an example. All you need to do is just wherever your mind wanders as the most far possible thing you can think of from what they're thinking of, but you still have a way to tie it in, which sounds confusing, but you'll see when I give you an example. Whenever you just tell me something, I just say, what's like a crazy out there thing, but I have a way that I'm going to tie it in. So let me give you an example. I don't want to use elephant because I want this to be genuine. So just give me a word, and I'm just going to freestyle how I might reveal it.
Bunny.
Okay. So Fred, right away, I get the sense that there's like a fountain. It's dripping of some sort. But there's like a weird little short person. He's not like a leprechaun, but there's this big figure. Oh, I don't know if does this make any sense to you? I don't think so, right?
No, really.
No,
yeah.
It's but there's the color purple. Like this guy's in purple. Oh, there's a sweetness. The guy has something to do with sweet, and this fountain. I see him in front of the fountain, and this maybe around the time of the year. It's not water in the fountain though. It's thicker. It's hold on. Can you focus on this thing? Just really send me that thing. Oh, it's not okay. It's not the water. It's something darker, thicker. It's a sweet. It's like a chocolate fountain. Yes, a chocolate fountain. Oh, the purple guy at the chocolate fountain. Yeah. Okay, it's like a chocolate factory. And it's a specific time of year. I see they're molding this into something. Uh-huh. But there's a time of year that this is I'm getting with this thing, and it's not Christmas, but it's maybe Halloween? No, not Halloween. Yeah, okay, it's about chocolate. Is that Easter? Does Easter make sense to you?
Yeah,
it's Easter.
Does,
Okay. Yeah. Right. But it's not the chocolate itself. It could be made out of chocolate, but that's not what you're thinking of. You're thinking of a living thing. Something. I get this movement that keeps happening to me. It's is that a bunny? Yeah, you go to the reveal. Right?
Nice. I like it.
So the first thing that comes into my head, I think of bunny, and I'm like, okay. animal, no, too obvious. So then I think of like the first thing that I can think of that has nothing to do with bunny, but still does. I go to Easter, and then I'm like, okay, I need to get further. Easter bunny's too close. Then I go chocolate, and then I go Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and that's what I started with, right?
Nice, I like that. Yeah,
and
that was
so
good.
that is what I try to do. It's a great technique because that was like, I don't know, a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and I could have went way longer if I wanted, but at the beginning, they're just like, what is this guy talking about? And it almost gives a story of how you're getting there, which is like really nice, right? It's almost explaining or pseudo-explaining how I get to that point. You know what I mean?
Okay, let me give it a go.
Sure.
You think of something, and I'll try.
Okay, let's go with a lamp.
A lamp. Okay. Okay, so immediately I'm thinking this is something like a medical thing, right? It has to do with some sort of what is this making sense to you? Some sort of medical thing, some sort of just picture it a little bit more in your mind. It's not medical, but it's something. If there's an emergency, something. Hold on a second. There's some sort of flash or something. I'm not sure. Like if there was like an ambulance. Does that make sense? No, maybe not. I'm not. If you just picture it in your mind. Oh, hold on. It's not. It's actually something a lot calmer. It isn't like a hectic sort of. It's actually more of a warmth, more of like a sort of soft, sort of like like a kind of soft light, like a lamp. Are you thinking of a lamp?
Yeah.
Is that
exactly
good?
Yeah, that was great. The one tip I would give you is I always try to go 3 links away. So for bunny, I went Easter, chocolate, and then the Chocolate Factory. So what I would have done with yours is you went lamp, maybe lighting of some sort, then you went to the hospital lamp, which is great. I would have went maybe to surgery first. So the first thing you open with is like, I'm seeing like, it's like a red, was that blood? So it just gives you a little bit more to work on.
Yeah.
Once you've picked like the theme, like I went to Easter right away. It's just pull something that's even further, like go back one more step. And then when you're in that step, start describing something that like you went straight to describing the light in the hospital, go to something else in the hospital. Go to the waiting room, go to the surgery, go to, so just, it's that one step removed that just gives you much more to work with. And you can spend as much time as you want describing that element of the surgery. And then it's like, no, it's not the surgery itself. It's like up for some reason. And that's another thing I do a lot is like a lot of gestures. And it's like, and what I've been loving with this reveal, which can't come as part of my propless thing, the best one I did, and there is like a short clip of the reveal in my Blackpool video, was on Mark Lemon, and he thought of Whisk. Actually, Cavan's was probably the best one. That was the best. But Mark's was amazing. Yeah, Mark's was one of my favorite, where I've been doing this reveal. So I go like this. I already know what you're thinking of at this point, but it makes them feel like I'm picking up on it. And I pulse a couple of times, right? So I don't just go like this and right to it. I'm like I'm thinking, right? And then for the Whisk, I was like here, and then you rotate your hands and you're like, you look at them like puzzled, and then it was just like, and it's like you look down like you don't know what's going on, and then it's just you look at them and you start doing, and his like the jaw drop on his face when I did it's the same thing with the Cavan one, right? Where I did slightly differently, and again, these are just things that come to me on the spot. Like I am very fluid. Like that's why I'm good at like these sort of freestyle reveals, because that's all I do. I never have scripted out how I reveal things. It's just in the moment, like, right?
Improv. Yeah.
And so with the bunny example, that's just where my mind went. But this is adding actions is super nice, right? And selling it with your face and your eyes too. Like this, if I do the exact same thing with the Whisk as I just did, but I stare at you in the face the whole time, and I'm just like it takes the power out of it from just the looking down at the hands, right? It's like those little things that like add so much power to the routine. You know what I mean?
Okay, give me something else. Let me experiment with it.
It's a lot of fun to practice. It's a lot of fun. What I do, when I was used to practice this, and any mentalism, ChatGPT is such a useful tool if you don't have someone to work with. Just say, give me a random word, circular reveal. Give me a random word, circular reveal, right? So, okay, let me think of something a little different here. Let's go. A pigeon.
Okay, Reid. So I'm picking up something. This is kind of weird. I'm thinking something like some sort of maybe a statue of some sort. Like no, like a sort of big grand thing. Like is it big? No, wait a second. It's something to do with the statue. Am I on the right track? I'm not
No.
sure. No, maybe not. A statue. Let me think. I'll just focus on it a little bit more. Oh, wait a second. No, it's not the statue, but it's smaller, right? It's something maybe at the bottom of a statue, like if I was in the middle of London, for example, there would be lots of them, and they would just be like coo coo.
Yeah. No, exactly, man. And it's really just like it's like working the creative muscle, right? Like people are always like, how do you become more creative? You just try.
I guess that wasn't really that circular. I guess it takes a lot of practice. I guess you get it with reps.
Triangular, I would say. You kind of went 1, 2, a little more. So again, statue's a great idea, but just go one step further. So maybe you go back to like, I don't know. I mean, I'm in North America, so I go like, like Abe Lincoln or something, like one of the old American presidents, and you start talking about like how he has a statue now, and you eventually tie it in because I don't know. I'm in Canada, but I think he has a statue somewhere. That's where I would go. Or like, what's that statue? Is it in Brazil? That big, is it like Jesus or something? That one.
I can't remember what it's called, but the one that Dynamo floated over.
Yeah, so do something like I would go like that, or like, so then you could start talking. Like I'd think of a statue, and then I could start
Christ
talking
the
about
Redeemer.
the
That's what it's called.
That's what it's called. Yeah. So you could start talking about that if you wanted, right? Or like I would just go one more step further, and then you could, and really the goal. So here's the thing. Here's how I know that you can go one step further, because each time you did it on me, I could see where you were going. Right?
Oh, I see, yeah.
So when you said statue, okay, pigeons landing on the statue, I got it. When you said medical, I could see, okay, the medical lamps, right? Obviously, I know what the word is, so I can process that. But if with bunny, hopefully when I start talking about the little, what are they, Oompa Loompas or whatever, like you had no clue what I was going on, hopefully, right? Like,
yeah.
And that's kind of the idea there, right? Where it's like, you want to start with something?
Do you not find it's a bit wordy? Like it's quite a long reveal? Like, do people... Can you hold? Because I know people sometimes have a short attention span. So
my thoughts on like length of performance is that for the most part, mentalism is like very different than the other forms of magic, where like you don't have one thing to rely on besides the reveal. Like you don't have the cards, the props for them. Like you might have props in your mentalism, but they're not to do anything besides record information for the most part, or so of course there are certain mentalism pieces that have props, but something like this where it's a reveal. So like I could read anyone's mind with a billet peak if I skipped all of the process and all the hokey mentalism jargon and just go straight to write it down, peak reveal. I could probably reveal it in 15 seconds. Like, depending how fast they could write. Like, I could just say, write it down, put it on here, shuffle. You're thinking of a dog, right? And so you have to keep in mind that the whole performance is tied into that. Now, what I think the big factor to answer your question is, how do you want to come across, right? What's your character? How do you want people to perceive you? So, for me, I like my mentalism to feel... I'm very clear when I do my shows, like, hey... I don't have a portal into your mind. I can't just read your mind, but I kind of leave it in that gray area where I use like the typical kind of mentalism influence, blah, blah, blah. I say like, oh, there's a little bit of psychology and influence and body language, and I use all these different things to give my best educated guess at what you might be thinking of, right? And that's kind of the way I frame it. And so with that, I need to sell that as part of the presentation. So me going through and acting like I am trying to read you or trying to pick up on something where hopefully they know that, like, if I wanted to, I could say, no, I'm a psychic, I'm reading your mind, and I could probably do the exact same stuff that I do, and it would be congruent. But I've just explained it in a different way, but the theatrics of it is the other angle, which look really nice. I think the stuff that I do theatrically, if you're a third person watching the performance, it looks nice. It feels nice. It feels a little bit genuine. It's like how mind reading would actually look, I think. Like, that's my opinion on what it would look like. And that's what I try to strive for. And if you could read minds, like, okay, maybe you would just know the word right away and reveal it. Maybe. But theatrically, that's very boring, I think. And you're right. Like, you, at the end of the day, you have to gauge every performance, you know, with your experience and just say, like, are these guys checked out? Are they not interested? Then I'll probably just get it done quickly and move on. If you're doing tables, move on to the next table. But in a case like you, when you're performing for groups and you're stuck with who you got. Like one day, Fred, you've had some great performances. I've watched them, really good stuff. But one day at that, is it a chalet or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, one day you're going to run into an awful group, and that's just going to happen. It's just the reality of what we do. I hope it never happens, but one day they're just going to be boring, not interested. You're going to feel like you're the worst magician ever, and it's not you, And what can you do in that situation? You just have to put your head down and motor through it and try to find what connects with them, because I am one who believes that there's always something that can connect with someone. You just have to find what it is, right? Even that heckler, like there's something that will get him. You just got to find it, and you might never, but it exists, and that's kind of how I try to look at that.
That's another thing I wanted to ask you, because you do street magic, right? So you stop people on the street and you say, "Hey, I'd like to know how you cold approach, and like what's the first thing you say?" Because you also film a lot of it, right? So you're like, not only do you say, "Hey, can you?" I'm assuming you say something along the lines of, "Do you have 5 minutes so I can show you something?" But then also we're going to film it, and then I guess you do say permission to put it on social media. I don't know, but then
this is a great conversation.
Yeah, and I would definitely want to segue into that. But like at the same time, because you've stopped them on the street, they might be on their way to going somewhere, right? And then when you're like doing this whole big reveal, I mean, obviously that's part of the mentalism, but do you ever feel like this time pressure of like, shit, I guess you just, like you say, you just have to, it's like improv, right? You just gauge it as it goes. But tell me a little bit about how you stop people on the street, and because that's bold, man. Like as an underperforming hobbyist, that is, that's the ultimate like squirmy.
So I might give you some advice that maybe you haven't heard before. I think I approach this a little bit differently, maybe a little more of the school of tough love, which resonates with me, and maybe that's why. But look, first of all, you've unleashed a can of worms, so I hope you're not busy for the next hour, okay? So we got a lot to talk about. Okay, let's start maybe with how the approach happens. So everything that I film, street magic-wise, ends up on the channel. It's not that I film most of it, I film all of it, and I generally post all of it. The only reason that I film street magic, I love it. It's my favorite place in the world to perform. But taking out my own, I guess it is still my own self-interest, because I'm making these videos to share with people. But the only reason outside of my own self-interest of the enjoyment and being able to have this is to create content of myself, either to use on social media to help build the brand, or to show people the stuff I'm working on, to use it for projects, whatever. So it's very intentional when I film. And I think that anyone, even underperforming hobbyists, you should give it a try, because just to tell you why, it gives you that immediate, like, it's a bit of a harsh environment. It can definitely be a harsh environment. But once you can do that, you can perform anywhere. That's one.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
Two, it allows you to test anything in super low stakes conditions, because you're never going to see these people again. Maybe it's a little awkward for like 15 seconds until they walk away, but then, you have to learn to let it go. There's so many benefits. And the other thing I'm going to recommend right off the bat is film it. No matter who you are, if you have no YouTube channel, if you only have, a potato to film on, still film it, because you will learn so much from watching that footage back. Now, how do you do it? I would suggest the first most important tip is just find the most crowded area that you can, that's not too loud if you're trying to film it and care about the audio quality, but generally the most crowded area. The reason is you don't want to be the guy who's just walking up to the one person in the park. They say no, and now you're just like, all right, well, that was fun. Let's go home now. There's no one left, And when I moved here, and I remember the first place I thought would be good was awful. There was like no one there, and it was like a touristy area, so no one spoke English. And I was like, okay, well, this isn't going to work. So it takes some time to find the spot. But once you find it, you know, do yourself a favor and go on a Friday or Saturday night. Don't go on a Sunday morning. You know, like set yourself up for success first.
Right, yeah,
you know.
got you.
I literally only film Friday or Saturday nights because I shoot downtown on a busy street with a bunch of like clubs and stuff. Just because that's a good spot in the city to do it.
Yeah.
Now, the approach itself, I will give you two perspectives. One is from my perspective, which is, for granted, going to be different than some of the other people, but I think you still get some value out of hearing it. So when I'm approaching it, I know that my goal is to create the best video possible. That's why I'm here. I am here to create the best video possible. So my goal is to find the best people who love magic to make the best video that I can, because I know people are going to be watching it, and I'm very conscious about how I want this video to feel and look and be engaging. Now, that's not something that's important to most people, but what it means that I do is I will stand around an area, my spot. I'll walk around a little bit with my camera guy, and I'll just wait, and I will go walk around like, okay, also, better if it's a place with people sitting and standing and in groups and tables, because then it solves the problem of people walking by. But the area I perform has a good mix of both. So there's some tables, but it's a lot of foot traffic, and I'll explain how you do both. But you walk around up and down the block, and you eavesdrop. Not creepy, but you just listen. What are people talking about? Who's laughing? Who's having a good time? Who seems fun? And I walk up and down a few times, and I'm like, okay, that group 3 blocks down, we're going to go get them. And we will walk 3 blocks, and we go right to them, right?
Yeah,
so I do a bit of recon. And now that's something that you still can take, because even if you're not focused on making the best video, you still want to have a fun time performing, right?
Of course,
You still want, good footage to watch back. So be selective with who you approach. That's my first tip.
Okay.
Now, the approach itself, what do you actually say? Well, I take the approach of, if you give them an out, they're going to take it. So do not give them an option, in a sense. Okay?
Yeah.
So I walk up and I say, I'm a magician. Actually, what I would say, a little tip, I say magician mind reader now, because right now mind reader is got a little more weight to it. For whatever reason, It works better when I say I'm a mind reader as well. It gets a little bit more intrigue. So if you do any mentalism, really, even if you don't, you can put a little spin on your card trick. Great. But I say I'm a magician mind reader. I say I'm filming magic for YouTube. Can I show you something? Right? So but it's very much let me tell you what their answers are. So with that approach, with the little bit of recon, I would say my success rate is above 80%.
That's good, because I was going to say,
yes.
You've already said, I'm going to show you something, I'm filming for YouTube. So they've already, but by saying I'm filming for YouTube, you've already sort of gauged their consent. And you know that credibility, and you've also said that there's going to be a cameraman. Right, okay.
Yeah. So never say, never say, can I film you? Because they will say no. Either don't say anything, and the cameraman with the camera is standing right there with a camera in their face. And the laws, at least in North America, around posting footage, as long as it's not on TV and it's in a public area, you can post whatever you want. You're in public, there's no right to privacy. Now, I get it. Some people say, well, I want to be, it's the nice thing to do. But you're not hiding it. You're not filming on the meta glasses. You're not doing The guy's right there. And if you want to say something, then just say what I do. I'm filming for social media. I'm filming for YouTube. Can I show you something? But the question is, can I show you something related to magic, not can I film you? Because the second it's can I film you, people get shy.
Yeah. So I don't know if you saw a video recently of Cavern Booth and Chasing the Illusion. They did some cold approaching in the street.
I watched a little bit of it. Yeah, a little bit. I didn't see the full thing.
Who is a very talented magician. He's not a full-time magician, and you're not a full-time magician either. I want to talk about that as well. But Cavern Booth also has a full-time job, so he's not but he is a professional magician. He performs and stuff. But to see him like be so squirmy at this cold approach in the street, being like, "Oh, hey guys, do you mind if we film a little bit of magic?" And they're like, "Oh, no, it's no bother whatsoever. Don't worry." As you were, it was so funny watching him immediately sort of like recline and recluse and be like, "Oh no, it's fine." Absolutely, it's very British as well. It's like, "Oh no, absolutely, of course you're too busy." But it was very, very funny. And so yeah, a few other little things. So for underperforming hobbyists, like if you go up to someone and say, "I want to show you something," and I'm going to film it, there's an expectation that this is going to be really good. So number one, sometimes that puts a lot of pressure on you. Like, not only am I going to show you magic, but I'm going to film it for YouTube. You're like, "What? This better be." They're thinking, "Well, this better be good then, Magic Boy."
You know what, Fred? I kind of disagree.
Oh, really?
I think it does the opposite, and it's actually a benefit for you as the performer. It doesn't. It shouldn't put added pressure, because I feel you should be confident in yourself. Have self-belief. One, believe that you're.
To have self-belief, you need evidence, right? You need...
Listen. What the camera does is gives them the belief that there's already established credibility there. So now you don't have to prove yourself as much, because they're saying, if this guy is filming himself and posting it, and if you're not posting it, still say you're posting it. Say, "I'm filming for social media." They don't know if you are Chris Ramsey with 7 million subscribers or the underperforming hobbyist with 1,000 subscribers. They have no idea, and you're never going to tell them. And when they ask to see, if they say, "Oh, can I follow you on YouTube?" you say, "After the performance, sure, I'll give you my stuff." So now you'll be amazed how many people think I am like, "Oh my God, you're on TikTok?" I'm like, "Yeah, I only have like 1,500 followers, but I don't say it." But I'm like, "Yeah, I'm on TikTok. Of course I'm on TikTok." And they think I'm like millions of subscribers, right? Which is like, I'm going to take that. So now they already know this guy's not his uncle showing, like, he's not a weird guy just showing. He's an established, he's going to be good. And it does, I wouldn't say it puts that added pressure, because it just builds you up. It's like you've already done your opener for them. You've done your opener. They already believe that you are good.
Sounds a little counterintuitive to me, man. They'd be like, I would imagine them being like, "Whoa, I'm in for some good magic." And then if you don't have that evidence to believe in yourself, and you're like giddy and nervous and you fumble stuff, it's like, "Well, I thought you were some sort of famous magician, and what's this cameraman?" So I guess you have to be willing to crash and burn, right? You have to be willing to crash and burn a few times, maybe.
And that's what it comes down to. Like, it's never going to go perfect, but I mean, it's really no different than any other type of performance. It's just the fact that they don't know that. Like, I think that's the reason, Cavan might have been a little bit shy doing it, because he's paid to be there. So it's so easy. It's like, I'm the magician. I've been paid to be here. You're going to watch magic whether you like it or not, right? Like, whereas in the street, it's like people are out there enjoying their day. And so one thing I really want to hammer home, which is probably counterintuitive, but I mean, I've been doing this a long time and I think it works. When they say no, be a bit pushy. Do not do what Cavan said. No. Say, "Look, like, people don't know the best performance. Some of the best performances I've ever had are people who did not want to see it and did not want to be on camera."
Really?
And it was literally just a matter of, "Are you sure? It's going to be really fun. It's going to be really cool." Like something as simple as that. Like, no, it's going to be really fun. Are you sure? It's going to be a great time. You don't get to see this too often. Just kind of, because people, what it is it's like, especially in a bigger city, and this is something I noticed when I moved to Toronto. You have so many people that'll come up to you. Like, you have these people on the sidewalks who are like trying to sell you things. These people who are raising awareness for stuff, people giving out free stuff, homeless people asking for money. Like, you have all this, you're getting stopped a lot in a big city.
Yeah.
And so when you stop someone, everyone's reaction is, "No, I'm good. No, I'm good." They don't even hear you. They just, "No, I'm good." Right? And so I go over commanding right in their face, hey, look, I'm a magician. I'm filming for YouTube. Can I show you something? And it's like right to the point. "Oh, no, sorry, we're busy." No, look, it won't take too long. You're going to really enjoy this. Okay, it's a lot of fun. It's like nothing you've ever seen before.
Do you hammer home that it's free? Because like sometimes if you cold approach people, especially in a big city, I don't live in a big city, but I would imagine I'd be like, "Well, is this going to cost me money?" You're going to be like, "Hey, give me some money." Like, how much do you think this? Like a busker. Do you ever get that?
Personally, I never mention money, and maybe it's where we are in the world where people don't assume that it's for money, but I don't think people assume that. I don't think I've ever even been asked, "Do I have to pay?" I've only had people say, "Can I pay? Can I tip after it's done?" And I just say no.
Oh, there you go.
But
Canadians.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, when you're doing this, here's the huge perspective shift that I think a lot of people have backwards that you need to understand. So this ties a lot into your opener. When you approach a group and you're asking, think about the value exchange there. So what's the value exchange? In the beginning, they are giving you everything. They're giving you their time to show them magic. But the reality, and so you feel, oh, I'm asking them for something. They're doing me a favor, and that is completely wrong. You possess all of the value in this exchange, literally all of it, and you are doing something for them. You are going to make their day. You are sharing a beautiful gift with them. Now, the value exchange doesn't flip in their mind until you've established your credibility and your opener. That's why saying that I'm filming for social media, immediately they are starting to flip that value exchange in their mind, right? Because they're like, well, okay, this might be worth my time, right? And then when you do your first trick, your first opener, you do a quick transposition, you do 2-card Monty, and they're like, whoa, now you have them in the palm of your hands. Now it's not them giving you their time, you are giving them your time. So in reality, they owe you something. You don't owe them anymore, right?
Okay.
And that's how you command a situation, right? That's how you're asking about these long reveals. I have them in the palm of my hands after that opener. I'm doing them a favor. So if they want to walk away, that's their loss, right? I'm sharing the gift with them. I am going out of my way, something that people normally pay for, I'm giving you for free. And even if, you don't charge currently, people still pay for magic. Maybe they don't pay you, but they pay for magic and you're giving it for free. So it's that shift in value exchange, which is what allows you to captivate them, keep the performance, and that's, you draw people in, right? Now they're in the palm of your hands. You can do whatever you want. You're good to go.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That is, I guess it takes a lot of balls. I can imagine. I know how I feel, so I know how like my fellow underperforming hobbyist tribe. They're probably like, yeah, it's all right for you to say. Like you've got the reps. You've done it. Like I guess the first ever time that you cold approached.
Yeah, we can talk about it. I remember it vividly. Yeah, I remember.
Oh yeah, go for it. Yeah, tell me.
Literally, all I did was I don't think that could be cool. Did I have that footage? No, unfortunately, I don't think I have that footage. Damn, that would have been cool. I'll make a video about that. But honestly, you probably would look at it and be like, "Oh, that was totally normal."
Oh, really?
And I think I don't fully remember it. I definitely, the performances. If you go to my first Street Magic video on the channel, you go to the Street Magic playlist. That first video, one of those groups was my first ever time performing Street Magic.
No way.
And it went up on the channel because, I'd already, the thing is, I'd already been performing a lot. I just had never done Street Magic. I never cold approached because I had no reason to. I had no need to, right? But now I have a YouTube channel. I wanted to make some Street Magic. So the first time definitely was nerve-wracking doing the approach. But there's two things that I do. One, I'm a very big proponent of the 1, 2, 3 method. 1, 2, 3 and do it. And here's the thing, that only works as long as you stick to it. The second you break the 1, 2, 3, then you've taught yourself that you can always break it and it'll never work again. So I'm telling you, treat that with respect and keep the power of the 1, 2, 3 method, because you only get one shot in your whole life to use it. Yeah. And luckily I've still kept it. But anytime I say 1, 2, 3, I just go do what I've set out to do. Right?
Yeah. So I'm guessing the 1, 2, 3 would be 1, 2, 3, go, no questions asked. That's what I'm doing.
You're doing it. The second you finish 3, you just begin what you're set out to do. Yeah. So that's the one. The second thing is fake it till you make it. Right? Go up to that group and just rehearse your line. If you're nervous, I'm very big on preparation. Know exactly what trick you're going to open with, do in the middle, and then close with. Plan out your lines. Rehearse all of that in your bedroom as much as you need to feel like you've got it down. And then walk out on the streets. You're going to be walking back and forth probably for an hour just trying to psych yourself up. But eventually, you spot a group, you listen to them, they seem fun, and you say, even better, like I said, your first time, find someone who's sitting, because then you won't have to deal with the walking thing. But again, how you deal with that is you literally just stop them. You command it, right? You tell them what you're offering. Look, this is what I'm doing. Come on, it'll be really quick. have a little area that you're planning to perform that's off of the walking path, so you're not blocking traffic. That's another big tip. And just do it. Just fake it. Pretend you're confident. Pretend you're the best magician in the world, and just believe it. There's no other way. And I can say all this. You're right, and it's not gonna. You're still gonna be a nervous wreck, and you're still gonna be shaking probably when you try it for the first time. But that's life. That's how it's gonna be. But once you do it, and it's like Fred. It's like that first time you were at the chalet, and you were like, "Yeah, I was a bit nervous, but I don't know why I was nervous. It went so well." It's the same thing. It's gonna go well. It's gonna go well.
So you think that having a cameraman there gives you more credibility? So if you were just to cold approach someone in the street and say, "Hey, listen, I'd love to show you some magic," without the camera, you think it would be harder?
Yeah, it's a huge difference, really, because there's that unknown. What is this for? Like, even if you
what
have
does this weirdo want from me?
Well, I actually mean it in the other way. When they have a camera, they're saying, "What is this for? Is this for TV? Is this for And so people, they're intrigued. They're like, once they see a camera, it only brings good questions, right? And generally, I answer the question right off the bat, saying I'm filming for YouTube, but like my camera, it's nowhere near a TV camera, but it's a nice camera, and people look at it and they're like, "Oh, this looks like a nice little production." But even if you're shooting on an iPhone, it doesn't matter. You're filming it for something, right? And I always tell people, just say you're filming for social media, because it just raises more good questions of, "Oh, this guy, he's posting his magic on social media." And I know you feel now you have a standard to live up to, but I would really look at it as now they have put you up to that standard without you having to do anything, right?
I imagine the underperforming hobbyist watching this would be like, "Well, why don't have a cameraman? Like, where do I get a cameraman from?" Obviously, the obvious answer is just roping one of your friends to come and film you do magic. I'm like, how do I? Like, I wouldn't even know who to ask. I could think of someone, but even just the thought of me going around to like the local restaurants or just approaching a table, it just feels like
the best option is just ask a friend. You know what I mean? Like, your friend. All you need to say is, "Hey, can you do me a favor? I want to shoot some magic. Do you mind coming with me for a few hours?" If they're your friend, I hope they would do you a favor. At the end, if you need to present a little bit of value, like, it's gonna be fun. The cameraman always enjoys the experience, watching people react, freak out. All you need to tell them is just hold the camera and get the reaction. And nothing else is important. A lot of time, people who don't know how to film magic, they're doing this in and out, in and out. Just tell them to stay. Just stay, and at most they can do this. But that's all it really comes down to. Like, even now, like just this past summer was the first time where I guess I kind of had a proper camera guy, but it's not even that. It's just Cameron. And before that, I always was asking my friends. Like, now me and Cam, we go together, we shoot for each other, and that works great. And if you have another magician around, that's even better.
Must be fun. That must be a fun dynamic with you two.
Yeah, it's super cool, man. He's a great guy, and we just kind of met organically, and he's awesome, super talented.
Yeah. I absolutely loved that video that you did with the oil and water. It was so good. Seeing you guys, like, you were so, like, I've done the dribble catch. I was completely fooled. I have no idea how you did that. You kept pulling out the cards. I was, like I say, I'm fooled. Absolutely fooled. And idea.
Yeah, the slide off, I used to do that years ago. I did it with this is like the fourth. I did it, season 3 was with Kevin. We only made one episode, unfortunately. But it was still fun. And me and Cameron, we're going to do several of those. We already filmed the second episode, and I'll give you a little sneak about it. We did something so different. We did a 30-minute slide off. So we sat down, we turned on the cameras, we came up with the idea, then we went into different rooms, 30 minutes to create a what was the plot? Like a Gemini twins type routine. So like matching of the mates. So like something matching of the mates, and then he gave me some sleights, I gave him some sleights, and we introduced a restriction. So I told him, "You're not allowed to use any of this type of move." He gave me a restriction, and then we reached into my magic bucket and we picked out a random prop. So he gave me a thumb tip. So I had to come up with a card trick using a thumb tip, and he had to do it with this old, like, mirror penetration, like, dollar store gimmick thing. It's pretty funny.
Cool.
I think he might have won this one, to be honest. But I'll be curious to see what you guys think. But yeah, that'll be out in a few weeks.
The one that I think it's such a great idea because you're like two very, very talented magicians when it comes to sleight of hand, and the fact that you were coming up with these routines on the fly, and with the dribble catch and all that, like with what was it, a triple lift, and it was so cool, man. And I just thought, and at the end, all the cards were mixed like oil and water, and it was brilliant.
Yeah.
I was completely fooled, and I could see that Cam like was kind of, I guess, he knew what was coming up. He knew like what it was and stuff. And he's obviously a magician. But for me, I was like, whoa, I did not see the end coming at all. It was great.
Like I tried my hardest to put something in there that would fool him. He's very knowledgeable. And so I thought I might get him when I switched out the oil and water cards for the sevens or whatever at the end,
Yeah.
Like I thought I had the perfect misdirection. I watched his eyes. He looked away. I did the switch and I'm like, I asked him after, I'm like, did I get you? He's like, no, I saw it. I'm like, damn. I thought maybe the dribble thing would fool him. He figured that out too. I was like, damn. So, but that's part of it. That's not what it's about. The creative process, right? It's it's a really, and some of the routines if you go back and ever watch the older episodes of the Slide Off, like some of those routines are super cool. Even this one, like I had no clue what I was going to do with that, oil and water. It was like, but then when that idea, finally, I had different ideas, but eventually that popped in. I was like, this is just so good, so cool, right? And now that's something that I'm like thinking of actually turning into like some kind of routine. Like that's like, and
why not? It's very, very cool.
Something there.
Yeah,
and it's easy, but like.
Well, you had me fooled. Like when I think the closest I've come to jamming really is with Lloyd when I did Chop, because I was like 30 minutes before. I was like frantically practicing it, and I was like, "What am I going to do like for the end?" And then I was like, "Oh, what if the note comes in the wallet? Because I've got the Alakazam wallet, so I think it's called a Shogun. So you've got like the top bit, but then if you flip it around, it like it's like, oh look, where's all my money gone?" So I was like, I thought that was really cool because there's only one note in it, and you could see my gym membership, and I was like, and then you can still see and it come out crinkled, and he was like, what? It didn't like fool him, but it definitely surprised him. And I thought, wow, that's like how, like, that's the creative process, right? And especially with the time constraint of like, oh my God, okay, I'm going to film with Lloyd. Again, that puts a lot of pressure as well. I'm going to perform to someone who knows magic very well. And as someone who's like quite a beginner, I'm like, what am I going to do to, make it like impossible, and he was like, whoa, I did not see that coming. So that was cool. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was awesome. I watched like the first half of that video yesterday while I was cooking. And so I paused my cooking and I watched the Chop performance. It was really cool. I did not see the bill thing coming either. It was a really smart idea.
How cool was it that Lloyd got to open his t-shirt on the pod? That was so rad. I love it. Yeah,
that was I was like right about like 40 minutes in the video, and I was just like listening, and I was like, oh, I wonder if you got the shirt yet. And I checked, like, right, it was crazy. Right at the same time, I pick up my phone and I checked the shipping, and it said it was delivered. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe they'll talk about it. I don't know when they filmed this. And then he's like, oh, I got this, and I was like, oh man. It was so cool to hear you guys talk about it, and I appreciate you for sending that to him, man. That was that was amazing. So thank you. And,
no, you're welcome, man. Like I say, I believe in it, and hopefully that because Lloyd was saying like, I need an excuse to, or I want to perform magic, but I want someone to ask me, and I was like, I know a way.
There's a way, and you know what's so interesting? Like I wear this not every time I perform street magic. Sometimes the reason like. I don't always is because, like, say for example, when I filmed all the performance footage in the trailer, that was like one night, and man, we were doing a 4-hour shoot, and I did not stop performing for a single minute of that 4 hours. I was absolutely drained because there was literally a lineup, and I never get that. Like people see you performing, sometimes people stop and watch. But there's never a lineup. Like I can stop and then pick my next group with this. Was not picking anyone. You want to see? Okay, you're next. And it was just like, it's really, really a crazy thing. And what I love that you said way back was like, bring a change of shirt.
Yeah, right.
Because you're going to it's overwhelming. It's definitely.
That's the thing. Like sometimes, so I love the shirt so much, but when I as a bashful underperforming hobbyist, I don't wear it because I know that if I wear it, I'm going to have to do magic. Even though I love doing magic, I'm like, whoa. It's so weird. It's this counterintuitive thing of like, well, I love performing magic, but if I wear the shirt, I will have to perform magic. And do I want to perform magic tonight? The answer is nearly almost always yes. So I don't know why I don't wear it all the time, but it's just, yeah, I know how powerful it is. Like, there's no way that I can go somewhere and not get asked to do a magic trick. It literally says, ask to see a magic trick. So, oi, show me a magic trick. it's
how often... I'm curious, how often, like genuinely, how often do you use the trick in the shirt when someone asks, or do you usually open with something else?
Pretty much always. But like I say, normally I just wear it to gigs, and like I say, when I'm doing magic, there's outs. Like, it's so good because anytime someone thinks of any card, it doesn't have to be the Jack of Hearts, which I said it on the last video, but when you do the mind games, very often it's the Jack of Hearts. And then I love the pseudo explanation of like, well, what if I influenced you from the start? Look at this. And they're like, no way. And then it blows them away, because then the method is that it's like a Darren Brown layer, like a pseudo explanation of like, wow, then I didn't even see it, but like must have been my subconscious picked up on it. And so, yeah, I love that. But then anything, like, if I'll just say, for example, oh, hey, I haven't actually done anything with you yet. Why don't you just think of a random card? Very often they'll pick a heart, right? If they don't, no problem. I'll just pivot into something else. I won't even like try and get it. But or sometimes I'll just be like, what if I could make your card appear on my shirt? Whoop, and I'll just leave it at that. Sometimes it's just a gag, and then I'll pull out the invisible deck. It's just so nice to have it on me. Like, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't want to wear the shirt, because it's just there's extra magic on you.
Yeah, and I wore it around one day at Blackpool, and I discovered that it repels magicians at Blackpool.
Oh, no way.
No, I'm kidding. No one asked. It's the one place on planet Earth where no one asks to see a magic trick when you're wearing a shirt that says ask to see a magic trick, which I didn't mind. I performed enough. But I showed it to Lloyd last year, I remember, and he did the 4 of hearts. And it went perfect where I didn't have to equivocate. Because you know how I teach you to like take the chance, and then if it doesn't work, you can pivot into the equivocate. And he was like, "What the, what the heck is going on?"
That's so cool.
Which it's like it is and thank you for kind of you are definitely a big reason that it reinvigorated the passion for the shirt. And it's not that I didn't think it was great. It's just it was like literally this idea. When like you listen to someone like Craig and he's like, "Oh, I've worked this in, and I've been spending years on this." This is the epitome of the opposite of that. This was like, I sat down developing my website 4 or 5 years ago when I wanted to build it. So I had no idea about website building. I'm trying to figure it out. I get together, an initial version of my website, which surprisingly I thought was pretty good for first time, and it's come a long way. But I was like, wouldn't it be cool? Well, actually, so I partnered with this company who does merch. So I was like, oh, why not have merch? Like, it doesn't cost me anything. They do print on demand, so I don't have to like pay for anything. I was like, people want merch, they want merch. Cool. So I made the hat, I made the classic t-shirt and the hoodie. And I was like, it would be cool to have kind of a magic product as like with the launch of the website. And I was like, I didn't know anything about like how to fulfill shipments and how to like even host video projects. And I was like, well, I have this company who takes care of all the shipping. I was like, I wonder if I could use them. So I'm like flipping through all their accessories, like seeing if they had like, it's like, maybe I can make a magic mug or like a magic. And I was like, just something. So I'm looking, I couldn't find anything. And I was like, what about a t-shirt? And then I was like, well, I do get asked a lot of like how to approach people. So I just like, I pulled up the t-shirt editor and I was like, ask to see a magic trick on the back. And it's funny because I took the classic shirt that I sell on my website is literally just the logo, nothing else on the shirt. It's just this logo. And so I took that, I put ask to see a magic trick on the back. It was like, I mean, I bet that would work really well. I'm like, I don't know, I bet it would work.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, the 52-to-1 style gag, the your card type thing, I was like, I wonder if you could, oh yeah, you could definitely do that on a shirt. I was thinking about it, I'm like, yeah, what if I had your card printed on my shirt? And I put it on the sleeve. I'm like, that's cool. And then the idea was like, well, this is kind of a gag shirt. But I'm like, you know what? Some people will find it fun. And I was literally going to stop there. And then I went to bed and I woke up the next day. Like, it was literally happened in like a few hours. And I was like, man, it'd kind of be a cool trick if you could have a card printed on your shirt, a named card. So then I looked, I'm like, well, the Jack of Hearts. I'm like, okay, so then I start thinking, I'm like, how could you force the Jack of Hearts? I'm like, well, I have this equivocate thing that I do. You could do that. And I'm like, yeah, it doesn't feel very good though. Like, it would be good, but it could be better. And then the idea clicked. I'm like, well, what about multiple outs? And then I spent literally just that day, I was like trying to figure out, I had to put on a shirt, and I was like, how could you put it so you can reveal different outs without them being able to see any others? So like one sleeve, shoulder, low, like everything. And eventually I figured out everything except I could only find 12, not 13. I could only find 12 outs that I was happy with. And, they did the printing on the inside. And this was such an oversight, but it just goes to show you what I mean, where like I thought of this in like a day, right? And I put it together because it was literally just supposed to be like, just for fun, right? And that's why the original tutorial, you're right, like my attitude was like, this is for fun, because like I hadn't really even tried it when I made the tutorial, to be honest. Like the original tutorial, I was just like, I think this is a fun idea. I had like 1,000 subscribers. No one's going to buy it, but it's just going to be there. And then eventually I started trying it. I brought it out. I started performing it. I'm like, actually, this thing's pretty good, and it works really well. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, let me like make a trailer. So I made a really bad first trailer, but I only had like 1,000 subscribers. I think I sold like 5 of them over like the 2 years after, like barely any. Yeah. And then eventually, I got a little more traction, and a few more sold, but really not many. And then you kind of reached out, and that was just like, I had been doing it more, but I never thought of like redoing it properly. Yeah. And then, I definitely experienced this where you're showing them the 3 of hearts and they're like trying to squint because it's in black ink. And that was just literally just, I thought they all had to be black because they had to be hidden, but it never occurred to me that one's always going to be hidden. Yeah. And so that's kind of how it came to be. And then you said, well, couldn't you put the 9 on it? And I'm like, I'm a much more seasoned magician now. Let me give some thought. I'm sure I could find something. And then I found one that I think works pretty well now, because you can kind of do the your card thing, and it's completely hidden. And then, and so, yeah. And then I was like, this is awesome. I went out, I got all live performances. The reactions were sick. I made a proper trailer, redid the tutorial, relaunched it, and then it did way better. And, and then thanks to you, I had a great week that week too with the shirt. So thanks, Fred. I owe your royalty checks in the mail.
Like I say, man, it's something that I really believe in, because like when I messaged you like with such an enthusiastic review, I even filmed it and like sent it to you on my other channel with an unlisted video. And I said, man, this is amazing. Like, because for someone who's bashful and shy about showing people magic, but I love magic, I mean, it's literally the whole theme of my channel. I'm like, this is amazing. People are coming up to me and asking to see magic. Like, how amazing is it? And there's a magic trick in it. And like, you brushed it off as a bit of a gag, but I've been getting some of the most amazing reactions from this gag, and I'm like, man, this is great. And then you were like, oh, well, maybe there's something in this, like I'll look into it. And then you made the adjustments that I suggested, and that was really cool, man. Like really, really cool.
I mean, you're like, this adjustment is like, I was literally like, I am the dumbest human on earth that I did not think of this. But again, it's totally because when I filmed that first tutorial, I had like a different idea of what this was going to be. No one's going to buy it. It's just for fun. Then I tried it, and I'm like, actually, this is pretty good, but I never went back. Like, it just wasn't on my radar. I was working on the new next thing. And then when you emailed me, you put it back in my head as like, yeah, this thing, I remember, like, I've gotten really good responses with this. This is really good. I think other people will actually like it too. You kind of showed me like, yeah, other people would like this idea. Maybe it's worth more than just a gag that I kept playing it off as. And then that's why I'm like, okay, I need to refilm the tutorial, get live performances, and like properly release this thing. And I'm very appreciative of that, man, because that was definitely you're a big part of that. So, and it's
you're very welcome.
It's a lot of fun.
You're very welcome. Listen, we're coming up to 2 hours. I've kicked my girlfriend out the lounge. I can hear her. I think that she, I feel like I'm a little bit being I live in a small apartment, right? So she's in the rest of the house. We got to bring this conversation to a close. However, I'd like to perform a magic trick for you. You said that you'd never had Rejoined Express performed to you. So even though you've probably seen it before, why not?
From you.
Exactly, right. So Reid, if I was to approach you on the street, you might say, oh, can I see a magic trick? And I'd be like, oh, well, I don't really have anything on me, but let me just check my wallet. I've got a couple of loyalty cards here. Maybe I'll just put the camera down a little bit. I've got a couple of loyalty cards here, a Starbucks one and a KFC one. Now what I'm going to do is I'll write my name here, Fred. And if you were here, Reid, you could write your name here, Reid. Okay?
Yeah.
Right. Now, Reid, you and I have only just met, right? So this is quite symbolic, okay? So Reid and Fred, right? Right now we're together, okay? like on this, we were apart. We connected through the T-shirt. We connected through Magic. But after this call, like we're going to drift apart, right? But I want to do something that's going to kind of make this little connection between us quite special. Okay, something like Magic for me is always about connection. Not fooling everybody, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try. Did you ever do any? Oh, sorry, you can't see. Did you ever do any like origami as a kid? Because I really like folding the cards back and forth and stuff like that. So yeah, look, if I just give it a little rub like this, you can see that they really look like they're stuck together, right? If you were here right now, you could actually take that, Reid, and they are completely joined together. Reid and Fred, and there's a little impossible souvenir that you can keep.
That's so good, man. Oh, I love that. I love torn and restored stuff. I don't do many, but I love it.
Yeah, I love it too. And the thing is, like, one of the things that put me off a little bit was like, they don't do these anymore, right? You don't get them. Everything's on an app now, right? If you went to KFC, like you'd have an app, like, but never once has anyone said, "Oh, I've got a Starbucks loyalty card and it's on my phone." One. I don't really. There's not even a KFC or Starbucks around here, right? No one's ever pulled me up on this. So yeah, I just think it's so cool. It's such a cool little thing, and you get to keep that. And they're like, "What?"
It's very clean, very clean, very clean. The display when you're showing both signatures in your different hands. I was like, oh, those better not go back together.
And I love the story, yeah. Like the podcast that Lloyd did with that guy Perseus really helped me say, look, give it a little bit of meaning. Like, yeah, this is you and I together, but eventually we're going to drift apart. But what if I could make a connection?
Yeah,
it's really beautiful. It gives it a little bit more meaning than like, oh, look at this and whoop. And then look, Reid, the only way to get this apart was to be actually to tear it apart completely.
Yeah,
joined. It's so cool. I love it. It's fantastic. So yeah, if you've never had that performed for you, then yeah, it's my pleasure.
Thank you, man. That was awesome. It's there's a trick with playing cards that reminds me of called Face Off. It used to be sold through Illusionist by this guy called Ron something. He's got a very long last name. I think he's like Filipino or something. Yeah, it reminds me that it's really cool. That's the only torn and restored that I really do these days, where it's like 2 cards, they sign the face of both, you rip them, and then half of each card restores. Super cool. I really like that, man. Thanks for sharing.
I've got another one where I do it. So that's Rejoined Express, but Rejoined is the exact same effect, but with playing cards. So what I like to do is like a little double lift and say, like, oh, this is the Ace of Clubs, for example. And then I flip it. I say, I'm going to sign the back. I'll sign this. And then I rip it like on the face. And I say, look, you think that I've just ripped the Ace of Clubs in half, right? But it's actually an illusion. And they're like, what, really? And I'm just holding the back of the cards. And then I love this, by the way. If I say to someone, if you were to think of your wife or your mum, if you were to think of your mum, okay, right now, right? You've got a good relationship with your mum. And if you had to think of a playing card that was like, that related to your mum, and they'd be like, oh yeah, the Queen of Hearts. And then I'd be like, when I said it was an illusion, I flip around the 2 sides and they're the Queen, the card that you have signed and I've ripped in half. Then it turns into the Queen of Hearts. They're like, whoa, that is mad. That is mental. And they think the trick's done. And I'm like, oh, look at this. Whoop. And then so I've like kind of improvised on that trick a little bit as well. I absolutely love it. It's so good getting that little bit of a verbal force for them to pick the Queen of Hearts. Like, if you think of your wife, like
great psych force, yeah.
To think of your wife as a playing card, what playing card would she be? And you think, again, that's one of those things like, oh, she could be anyone. Essentially just one of the queens. And of course, if you've got a good relationship with your mom, it's going to be the Queen of Hearts. But it does feel like it's 52-1, but it's really very narrow. So it's sneaky.
Did you come up with that idea?
That's really nice. Yeah. And I actually came up with it on the fly. One time when I was at a retreat, and this guy called Dan, I was doing it to him. I said, oh, your wife, if she was to be any card in the deck, and he said the Queen of Hearts, and I just revealed it. And yeah, so it was very impromptu, but now I love that. It's very cool.
You've sparked some ideas, Fred. I'm going to play around with that a little bit. If it works as good as I imagine it must, because it seems flawless, I think there's some really cool things you could do with something like that.
I love it. This is like jamming. It's like my first ever sort of like jam. Yeah. I love that.
This is what jamming's about. Yeah, man. I wanted to. We're running out of time. I know. I wanted to give you some tips on your one ahead that I saw, but we can.
We'll save it another time. Like, yeah. Well, this was great, Reid. Thanks so much for being a part of this conversation, man. And I'll catch you I'll catch you again in the next one.
Of course, man. All the
right.
best, everyone. Thanks.
All right, peace.